So I get a lot of questions on my videos about things that just relate to people wanting to get to know me better, and I decided to do a Q&A, and I went online and I found this list of 200 questions you can ask to get to know somebody better. I'm going to cut it down to 100. A lot of them are repetitive anyway, so it's not a big loss. But outside of getting to know me, if you're in a position where you're meeting a new person and you want to figure them out, I think this would be a cool list of ideas on where to get started. Now, some of these are silly and some of these are pretty serious, so brace yourself, grab a glass of wine if you're old enough, and let's do this. Questions to ask if you want to get to know someone on a deeper level. Man, the first one's tough. What's your philosophy in life? I'm pretty good at looking at the positive, even though sometimes I can be a negative person. At the end of the day, I still am positive and hopeful that I will find the things in life that make me happy. So I guess my philosophy in life is to not give up, because you never know. You never know what's just around the corner. All right, enough of that corny crap. What's the one thing you would like to change about yourself? Oh, God. I am notoriously a very poor judge of character whenever it comes to knowing if someone is good or bad for me, or if they're trustworthy or not. I suppose I wish that I could be a little bit more in tune with that kind of thing. Are you religious or spiritual? Haha, neither. I think a lot of people turn to this because they just need an answer in life. They need to know that their life has a greater purpose. And if they're not at least spiritual, they feel like there's no point. Whereas I find plenty of purpose just living my life and experiencing things and hopefully finding happiness without needing to attribute it to something bigger. I think what's going on is enough. Which parent are you closer to and why? That's a fucked up question. I'm not answering, I can't even answer that question. I feel like I'm Jordan Peterson right now. How do you define closer? How do you define parent? Anyways, I can't answer that. I have very different relationships with both of my parents. And it's not something that can be really compared. What was the best phase in your life? Oof. 22 years old was probably a really good time for me. It was really good before it totally crashed and burned. But when I was 22, this is embarrassing to admit because regrets, whatever. I had just gotten married and that was going really well. I had known the guy since I was 8 years old. It seemed like a fairy tale. And decided to get married because that's what people did in the area that I grew up. It just was normal. And I had found out recently that I got accepted to med school, which was my dream, and I was, stressed out because a lot of my friends didn't get in their first time applying, and I just so happened to get in. So I had just life was so full of promise, and I was so happy to be moving forward, and that was a really good time in my life, and I hope that one day I'll feel that again. I hope that, I have a time in my life where all the stars align and I'm happy with everything I'm doing career-wise, and I've got my personal shit figured out, I'm holding out hope. What was the worst phase in your life? Well, that's a good segue. I would say immediately after that good thing fell apart, and it completely fell apart. The relationship ended for awful reasons, and I just started hating school. I realized it wasn't what I wanted. It was just 3 years later, and I had, dedicated so much time and money to learning this skill, and it just didn't turn out the way I wanted. And I was so low because I was coming from such a high that I didn't know how to handle it. And that's the only time in my life I've ever struggled with even thinking about suicide. Obviously I didn't do it. And that's when I decided to just pack up my shit and move to California. But yeah, that was a hard time, and I feel like, even though it sucked, I know that going through that, I am gonna be able to handle whatever the fuck happens next, so I'm fine. I'm fine! Is what you're doing now what you always wanted to do growing up? No, and I think part of that is because what I'm doing now, this social media thing, isn't a job that even existed when I was a kid, so there's no way I could have even wanted to be what I am now, because it wasn't really a thing that was anything someone did. Although I will say, when I was a kid, I loved walking around with a video camera. I liked recording things, so maybe there were some hints in there. What makes you feel accomplished? Probably the biggest thing that makes me feel accomplished is whenever I go to an event like Playlist Live, or any place where I meet somebody that says that I impacted them in some way. If it's a comment or a letter that somebody sends me, and people have told me that I've helped them through really difficult times in their life, and that makes me feel like what I'm doing is worth it. So that's a cool thing. What's your favorite movie/book of all time? And why did it speak to you so much? Oh, definitely The God Delusion by Richard Dawkins. And I've said this a million times before, but he's like my hero. So and why did it move you so much or speak to you so much? Well, I was, leaving my religion, losing my faith. And that was difficult for me because it was such an integral part of my life and who I was as a person. So letting go of that was hard. And this book just kind of concisely put together a very clear argument of why I was moving in the right direction, and it helped me a lot. What's a relationship deal breaker for you? Oof. Cheating. Duh. I mean, there are a lot though. There are a lot. That's an easy go-to. But I could sit here and say guys who don't want to commit, or people who don't respect you. I've had guys who were like, pretty awful with the language they would use towards me. So that's a deal. I mean, like, I have a whole shitload of deal breakers, and I feel like the older I get and the more negative experiences I have with men, the more picky I'm becoming. So I feel really, really bad for the dude that I meet next, because he's gonna have to really fucking prove it. Are you more into looks or brains? Definitely brains. Would you ever take back someone who cheated? Abso-fucking-lutely not. How do you feel about sharing your password with your partner? Ooh, this is an interesting question. I've given my password to every person that I've ever dated. Seriously. I don't care. I have nothing to hide. And if they have some kind of insecurity, because I've dated guys who have been cheated on too, if they have any kind of insecurity, then go for it. I strongly believe that if you have nothing to hide, that shit shouldn't matter. And a lot of people will argue, oh, well, it's an invasion of my privacy. Fuck that. Come on, who cares? All it's gonna do is they're gonna maybe look at it a couple of times if they ever do. Maybe just knowing that they can is enough. But if they ever actually look through your stuff, they're gonna not find anything, and then not find anything, and then not find anything, and then one day they're not gonna keep looking because they trust you. So who cares? When do you think a person is ready for marriage? Never. I don't think anyone's ever ready for anything serious like that. I think it's just something that even if you're sure about the person, the prospect of it might still scare you. Even if you're not sure completely about the person, like, it's just, there's a lot of uncertainties in life, and you're never gonna know for sure, what you're doing. And there's always potential for things to go wrong, which is scary. So I don't think anyone's ever like 100% like, I'm perfectly ready. But you do it anyway if you care about the person, because you want to try, because the potential for it is enough to outweigh all the risks. So there. What kind of parent do you think you'll be? I'm gonna be a fucking kick-ass mom one day. What would you do if your parents didn't like your partner? This has happened to me before. Definitely happened to me before, and I dated them anyway. It wasn't pleasant, You definitely want your parents to approve. And I think like I said, as I'm getting older, that kind of stuff matters more to me, because if my parents really dislike someone, maybe they see something that I don't. And as I have admitted before, I'm not the best judge of character. So if somebody else sees a major red flag, I should probably listen. Who is that one person you can talk to about just anything? I talk to my parents about a lot, but I would have to say my mom, because my dad still views me as his little girl. So I can't be quite as explicit in my conversations about what goes on in my life. So I would say my mom. I feel bad for her, kind of. She hears all my shit. Do you usually stay friends with your exes? No, I don't. I completely cut them out. Have you ever lost someone close to you? People that I have cared about have left my life, but not in the sense of like dying. And that's one thing that I'm really kind of nervous about, because my grandparents are really old and it's gonna happen someday soon, but I haven't ever like dealt with a serious loss yet. If you're in a bad mood, do you prefer to be left alone or have someone cheer you up? Both? This is hard because whenever I'm really hurting, I don't talk to people. And my closest friends know this about me, so they just will demand to be in my presence when they know I'm going through something, because I won't reach out. I don't like it. I hate that shit when people are like, I'm so sorry for you. Are you okay? You poor thing. I cringe at the thought of that. I hate that sympathy thing. I don't handle that well. But I think at the end of the day, it's better for me to have people around, and I do look back on those moments and appreciate friends that do that. So I think I do prefer to have people cheer me up, but in that moment, I can't think straight, and I'll just lock myself in my room and be alone. What's an ideal weekend for you? Just hanging out, chilling with friends, relaxing, not stressing about work or life problems. Yeah, just not stressed. What do you think of best friends of the opposite sex? I don't think so. I do not believe, and people are gonna get mad at me for this, but I don't think men and women can be just friends most of the time, especially if the both of them are single. It's difficult, man, and I've had a lot of guys tell me, oh, I'm just friends with this girl. And 99% of the time, they were friends with the girl because she didn't reciprocate their interest. So they had to be friends with her. But I swear to God, if they were different and that girl was like, oh, maybe I do like you, they would have been on that shit. Do you judge a book by its cover? You really shouldn't. You really shouldn't. I'm a great example of this because people will look at me and they'll be like, ooh, she's this like angry person on the internet and she does these rants. She's probably like awful to be around, but I think I'm actually not very confrontational at all in real life. I like to just avoid, you know, I don't talk about politics or religion in front of friends. I just want to hang out and like watch movies and have fun. So if people judged me based off of what they saw in my videos, they would have no idea what I'm actually like off camera. Oh my God, are you confrontational? I just answered that. Next, when was the last time you broke someone's heart? That's not fair to ask because I would say the last time someone was really heartbroken over me was because I left them, but they put me in a position where I had to leave, you know? And then like, it's even years later and this person still is like reaching out to me and I'm like, I feel bad, but it's just, you know, I didn't have a choice. You know, if someone treats me poorly and then I, you know, recognize that and leave the situation and then they act heartbroken, is that really my fault or did they break their own heart? I don't know. Would you relocate for love? Yeah. I mean, that's kind of easy for me to say though, because I do YouTube for a living and I can literally do YouTube from anywhere, so. Did you ever write a journal? I did when I was really little, but it's not something I keep up with now. What are you most thankful for? Definitely just friends and family that I'm close to. Cliche answers, guys, cliches. Do you believe in second chances? It depends on what you're giving a second chance for. It depends. If they cheat, do they deserve a second chance? No. Absolutely not. But if it's like a lesser offense and you think that they are worthy, you can entertain the idea, but they'd have to really prove it to you. What's the one thing that people always misunderstand about you? I think I already covered this too. People see my videos and they think that I'm a little bit more of a hard personality than I am. I'm kind of a softie. What's your idea of a perfect vacation? Somewhere warm and tropical. I've always wanted to go to Bora Bora. Who knows, one day. What did your past relationship teach you? Don't trust anyone. Just ingrain those trust issues a little further. What are your thoughts on online dating or Tinder? I don't really like Tinder. I stick to Bumble if I use it, and I don't know. I know a lot of people that have found lasting relationships on Bumble or Tinder, so I definitely don't want to rule it out, which explains why, you know, I've had the account at many different points in my life, so who knows? Fingers crossed. It could still work. Right? I don't know. What's on your bucket list this year? God, am I dying at the end of the year? I don't know. Just keep doing YouTube, get better at that. When have you felt your biggest adrenaline rush? Probably whenever I have to do public speaking things and I'm in front of like a large audience of people. I get pretty scared and then I get out on stage and everyone's looking at me and like my heart's pounding. That's pretty terrifying. What's the craziest thing you've ever done and would you do it again? Ayahuasca. I think taking ayahuasca is one of the craziest things I've ever done. And I don't think I would do that again. I don't know. I would rather try something that doesn't make me violently throw up. If a genie granted you 3 wishes right now, what would you wish for? More genies? Can I do that? Jesus. I could do the cliche answers, world peace and, you know, health for everyone and, you know, bunnies, save all the kittens. But I don't know. Let's just drugs, money, and male bitches. What's your biggest regret in life? Fuck, I have a lot. Maybe, getting married at such a young age? That was stupid. What do you think about when you're by yourself? I psychoanalyze myself and my life, and then I spin into this, like, panic of why I'm not at a better place. It's really not great. Does your job make you happy? Yes, it does. Wouldn't change it for the world. What did you want to be when you were younger? These are getting repetitive. I think I wanted to be like a vet because I always liked animals. I was like, I want to be a vet. Why did your last relationship end? I don't know, guys. Check out youtube.com/JaclynGlenn. You'll find out all the details there you want to know. What's been your biggest mistake so far in life and what did you learn from it? It's repetitive. Probably the marriage thing. You should not get married in your early 20s. That's stupid. What's your favorite place in the entire world to go? My bed. What are your top 5 favorite movies? God's Not Dead 1, God's Not Dead 2, God's Not Dead 3, even though it's not out yet, Passion of the Christ, Ray Comfort documentaries, Evolution versus God. Favorite songs? God's not dead, he's surely alive, he's living on the inside. What qualities do you admire about your parents? They're both very different. My dad's very creative and very talented, and I've always admired that about him. Also, he's like very much a go-getter. He does not stop or rest. He's just always doing stuff, always accomplishing things, which is really cool. My mom is like really emotionally intelligent. She's really great at giving advice. She's really loving. She's a good mother. How would you describe your best friend? I don't have friends. What's your favorite hobby to do alone? That is an inappropriate question. Probably just playing the piano and singing, since I don't do those things in front of people. What's something that you can't go a day without doing? I don't know, breathing air. What's the most spontaneous thing you've done lately? Yeah, I don't know. It's taken me a while to think of that. I'm not really that much of a spontaneous person. I like to plan shit out and know what I'm doing. What a lame answer. What's the craziest thing you've ever done for love? Covering myself in paint, that was ridiculous, for a music video, or flying all around the world. I don't know. Some really crazy shit that I shouldn't have done. Bad. What's your biggest pet peeve? People who chew with their mouth open and they make that really disgusting smacking noise. It's really grosses me out. Why do you think you're still single? Because I keep dating shitheads that either can't commit to a relationship because they have commitment issues, or can't commit to a relationship because they have issues keeping their dick in their pants. So I need to like get better at picking people that don't suck. What accomplishment are you most proud of? When I got to meet and interview Richard Dawkins, that was pretty amazing. What's one dream that you have yet to accomplish? I'd like to get to 1 million subscribers one day. We'll see if it ever happens. What's your greatest fear? I could go 2 ways with this. I could be like roaches, because I'm terribly afraid of roaches. It's actually borderline a phobia. I will cry if I see one. It's ridiculous. But I think that even bigger than that is I think I have a fear of abandonment. I think I have some abandonment issues that go way far back, but also have been reinforced by shitty relationships. So yeah, that's depressing. What are 3 things you value most about a person? I would say just honesty and being a genuine person. There are so many people, especially in LA, that you don't know if they're being your friend because they want something from you or because they actually care about you. And then, I don't know, just like a willingness to be there for somebody if they're going through something. You know, being loyal and just standing by someone. Who are 5 people you are closest with? My mom and my dad and my cats. 2 of them, they count as people, and Jesus. What's the greatest struggle you've overcome? Probably just that period of my life where I had to pack up and leave and move to LA. That was pretty shitty. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? I don't really care, and I'm fine here for now, so I guess I'd stay in LA. What's the most exciting thing that's happened this past year? Well, I got my show, The Skeptic's Guide to Wellness, and that was pretty sweet, but then Fullscreen canceled their originals division and everything went away. So, yeah. It just sucks now. What's your favorite beer? Ew, I don't like beer. I will drink Angry Orchard ciders, but that's the closest I ever really get to beer. I am definitely a wine girl. What's one thing that bothers you most about the world today? Oh man, it just feels like people keep getting dumber, and that's a pretty depressing thing for me. People are more reliant on social media. Everyone stares at their phone nonstop. No one has any genuine connections. People seem to be a little bit more superficial. People take relationships for granted. I don't know. It just seems like everyone doesn't give a shit anymore, and that sucks. Who are you closer with, your mom or your dad? Repeat question! And that's an awful question to ask. My God. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be? Okay, I've already answered this too. What the hell is going on? If you change one thing about the world. These are all repeats. Okay, who was your favorite teacher and why? I had a teacher, my kindergarten teacher's name was Mrs. Redding, and she was always really sweet and understanding and comforting, and her favorite color was red, and look what's happened to me. Clearly there was an influence there. What sport did you fall in love with? I don't really do the sports thing. What's the weirdest thing about you? Where do I start? Look at my YouTube channel. You find plenty of weird shit. But I would say people think it's strange how much I crack my bones. Like, that normally freaks people out. Like, let me see if I can't. Ooh, see? I know, it's weird. What was your longest relationship? 8 years. 8 years of my life. What would your best friend say is your best quality? I don't know. I missed a call from Bria as I was filming this video, so I'm gonna call her back and see if she can answer this question. I'm filming a video and I need to ask you, what is my best quality?
Am I being filmed right now?
Yeah, I'm filming. Don't fuck up.
Jesus Christ. So you're a very loyal friend. You're dedicated. You would do anything for your friend.
Ah, thank you. That's actually something that I listed that I wanted in friends earlier, so that's a nice compliment.
Let me keep thinking.
Well, no, I just needed one. Just needed one quality.
Oh, what quality?
Okay, who is your favorite historical figure? Jesus Christ. What made you choose the college you went to? Well, I was offered a full scholarship, so I went there. If you could tell your former self one thing right now, what would it be? Don't let your creativity be stifled. I was told many times growing up that I needed to either be a doctor or a lawyer to find happiness or success, and that's a crock of shit. What food could you not live without? I guess sushi. I really, really love sushi. Dogs or cats? Y'all know me. Definitely cats. What's closest you've ever come to being arrested? Okay, I've never been close to being arrested. I've sat in the back of a cop car before though, but that's because my friend was dating a cop and he gave us a ride home from a bar. And I was after a breakup and after I got mugged, so someone actually attacked, I had 3 people, it was a guy and 2 women, came up, attacked me, took my phone, took my wallet, I was pushed over, my leg was like bleeding everywhere because this freaking girl with her high heel got me, and I hit my head and I was like not okay, and then I was outside on the sidewalk crying and I had no phone and my friend's like, that's okay, my boyfriend's gonna drive us back to our apartment, and I sat in the back of a cop car bleeding and crying. So people probably thought I was in a lot of trouble, but no, I've never been close to being arrested. That's a funny story now that I think, it's not funny. It's funny now. What was your best birthday? I don't know. I had a lot of really good birthdays when I was a kid. I remember my mom would always make like really special cakes where she would decorate them like crazy. She would like, I don't know how she did this. She's very artistic. She could get like all the Disney princesses perfect and like make the cakes look really, really beautiful. And I'd have all my friends come over and we would sing Spice Girls and play games, and it was really fun. What's one thing you wish you knew how to do? I wish I knew how to play the guitar. I know how to play like 4 chords, but I really should learn how to do that better because I think it'd be really cool. Where's one place you'd like to go that you haven't been? Bora Bora! I would love to go to Bora Bora. That's like my dream vacation. What's the last book you read and when? Well, I'm currently reading Mortality by Christopher Hitchens, and I've mentioned this a couple of times, but it really makes you appreciate life. And if you're ever feeling down or sad, you should read that book because there's so many points where he mentions the value of life and how you should appreciate what's going on right now because you never know when you could lose someone or, you know, lose your own life. So it's a pretty moving book. Where do you usually get your news? Honestly, this is probably sad, but Twitter. I stay up to date with Twitter more than any other social media. So if you guys ever need to get a hold of me or you want to know what I'm doing or how I'm feeling or what I'm up to, I would say follow me on Twitter. Instagram's cool too, but I use Twitter more, and Twitter has the trending tab, so if anything happens around the world, like, you will see it on Twitter before anywhere else. What are some of your own personal goals in the next 5 years? Well, I want to continue success with YouTube. I would like to at some point branch out into something outside of YouTube because YouTube is an extremely volatile platform and I feel like my channel could just be deleted at any moment. By the way, my second channel was recently deleted. I'm trying to get it back and it seems like I will, but I might not, and who knows? Everything is super unpredictable. Another good reason to follow me on Twitter and other places, because if everything goes down, you'll be able to find where my next thing is. But I guess in the next 5 years, I'd like to like make something outside of YouTube my primary focus. And then as far as outside of work stuff, I would like to find someone who wants like a real relationship. My God, is it that hard? You know, at some point I want to have babies, so fuck, that might never happen. I'll just get more cats. What would you consider your greatest accomplishment so far? This is repetitive, but I mean, like, I guess just that I've been able to build up my own thing on YouTube and make that my primary focus. Like, that's pretty badass. If you could get away with anything that you do, what is it? Oh, I'm sure if you could get away with anything, what would you do? Oh man, get away with anything? If I could, I would find some way to have like more political influence, like behind the scenes, like mind control the president of the United States. Mwahaha. Who is your greatest hero? I'm not gonna do the cliche family member answer, so I'll say outside of family, I would probably go with Richard Dawkins. He's pretty awesome. What's the greatest risk you've ever taken? Moving to LA with nothing and somehow making it work. So these are the 90 questions that they give that are pretty generic, these first 90. I'm gonna pick some random ones outside of that. These questions to ask someone if you want them to bare their soul. Jesus Christ. Why are we here? If heaven is real and you died tomorrow, would you get in? Do you believe in fate? Yeah, all these are ridiculous and don't really apply to me. Have you ever seen something you can't explain? I feel like they're going with this question, like they want me to be like supernatural, like, ooh, I saw a ghost one time or some shit. But I see things all of the time that I can't explain. And I can walk outside and see something crazy in nature happen and not specifically be able to explain how it happens, but there is an explanation. Ooh, what's the darkest thought you've ever had? What about the darkest thing you've never told anybody? Well, if I've never told anybody, I'm not gonna fucking put it in a YouTube video. I would say whenever I fantasize about like causing someone pain, it's more inflicting emotional pain on them rather than physical pain. Like my dream scenario is to like verbally humiliate someone in front of a like group of people, like decimate them, like be like, this reason, you're awful or your argument is invalid, and just have like everyone watch it happen. That's a really fucked up thought, but hey, that was the question. What do you consider your deepest fear? This question can be really telling of the depth or lack thereof of a person. Why is this the only question with a disclaimer? This question can be really well, I guess all the other ones were shit then. Like I said earlier, it's somewhat repetitive, but I have a fear of abandonment. It's hard for me to want to get close to people because they disappear. It makes it difficult to get close to anyone too, because you're just waiting for the moment where they're just like, okay, I'm gonna fuck off now. Is there an activity that calms you, a place or a thing that makes you feel at ease? I've been running recently. It's a new thing that I've been doing and I really, really like it. What makes you feel uneasy, overwhelmed, anxious? I would say the vast majority of the anxiety I have experienced throughout my life has been a direct result of personal issues in relationships with people close to me, whether it be someone I'm dating or a friend or family troubles. That's normally what gets me. I'm normally pretty calm, even though sometimes I can get stressed about career things. I think that, you know, I value interpersonal relationships above money or success or, you know, notoriety or any of these things I feel like a lot of people that are around me in LA value the most. That's way below, you know, loving people on my list. So whenever people that I care for deeply leave or if I'm having fights with them or if they do something awful to me, that just ruins my I can't even give you a period of time because it depends on who it is and how bad the offense was, but if I'm ever like really anxious, I guarantee you it's because of a person or people in my life that are hurting me. Oof, when have you caused the most harm to yourself? I would say just staying in really shitty relationships. Don't do that. I'm trying so hard to get better and I think I am. Would you find more comfort in the theoretical idea that we were the most advanced species in outer space? Or would you find more comfort in the idea that we weren't? I think I'd rather think that we weren't. I don't think humans are the brightest. I mean, granted, there are a few that are extremely intelligent, but there's a lot of dumbass people out there. And if we're the best the universe has to offer, that's pretty depressing. Ooh, if you had the option of eradicating pain from your life, would you choose to do so? Why or why not? Can I have a gradient? Can I like shift it down a little bit but not make it all the way? I don't know. It's impossible to feel happiness, I feel like, if you don't know what it's like to feel pain. Well, that was a lot of questions. And if you are trying to get to know somebody better, you can ask them some of those. It's kind of cool. I'm going to go live right now on Twitch. So click the link at the top of the description and come hang out with me on Twitch and we can answer all the questions you ever had on the world. Like I said, I've been having trouble with my YouTube channel and things are a little iffy, so I'm gonna be streaming on Twitch a lot. That's gonna be like my go-to streaming platform. So I really hope that you guys can follow me there. I live stream every single day for like an hour at least. And that's gonna be, I think, you know, instead of all these other apps that I've been using, that's gonna be the one that I focus on primarily. And I will see you there for more questions and more fun. All right, like this video if you liked it, share it everywhere, and I'll see you guys next time. Mwah! Bye!